Hello and welcome to the Energetics mini masterclasses. And this masterclass is going to be on energetic rhythms. Now, first question to you is, how much do you consider the rhythm of your day, your business, your services? Because energetic rhythms are a vital life force in your business, and they determine how you design your business and how you deliver your business in order to create impact. And impact is the calling. It is the calling forward to create what we alone can create. Because we are in the business of creating impact and creating transformation. And that transformation itself has its own rhythm. It has a heartbeat, if you like, but it is that heartbeat, that rhythm, that influences two things. It influences how we create and how what we create is received. And those two rhythms are actually slightly different. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. But we are here to move people from one state of being to another state of being. And it is about feelings, because our situation is determined by how we feel about something, and how those feelings show up for us and how they impact and affect how the actions that we take and the way that we act. And that's really what you're here for in your business, is to actually help people find a different way of feeling and therefore acting, just giving them a different vantage point. But their journey through that process has a specific rhythm. And when you are creating something to take to people, that also has a specific rhythm. And it is in accessing, consciously accessing that rhythm, that we open up a different dimension in what we are creating and allow people to access a deeper level of it. And we're creating change for them from a different place. Often change is led from the head, because we think I do need to change, and therefore I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But when we work with the rhythm, we are feeling that change, and then actually bringing that into form and into expression. So I want to focus first on you as the creator, and what the rhythm is for you, because it is about what inspires you to create and accessing the rhythm from there. Because if you are not inspired, then you will not be creating the full extent of what it is that you are capable of creating. So the rhythm will be there that inspires you. It will start where you start and tap into where you are at. Now, that is different to anybody who is going to be experiencing what you create, because they're in a different place. You're the creator, therefore you are ahead of the people who are going to be experiencing it. Their starting place is different. And coming back to that idea of, and that concept of this being about it, transformation being about feeling, then they are feeling a different set of emotions, they're experiencing different thoughts, they're acting in different ways than you are, because you are further ahead. So the rhythm that applies to you as a creator is different to the rhythm that applies to somebody who is experiencing what you are bringing forward. And so what inspires you to create is not necessarily what inspires others to act, but your energy of inspiration, that energetic impulse that you've got to share what has ignited you, that will be felt, and that will inspire. But it'll be an aspirational inspiration, rather than necessarily where people are at inspiration. So we need to make it easier for people to take that action, by reaching at them where they are at now. And that's why the rhythm is different. And the difference in the rhythm influences how people experience it. So the energetic rhythms, they go through the same phases, whether you're a creator or experiencer. It's just that their starting point may be different, or the emphasis may be different. Now, I work with the elemental energies to do this because they underpin everything. Every personality test, every systems model is underpinned in some way or other with the elemental energies, because they are the fundamental building blocks of life on this entire planet. So to me, it's easier just to jump straight back into where all this came from, rather than using other systems and approaches to deal with it. So that's why I go straight back to the source. They are the elemental energies determine the energetic emphasis and heartbeat of anything that we are creating, and we experience it in one way as a creator, and those that participate or on the receiving end of it, or the recipients, then they experience it in a different way, and that has a different energetic rhythm. So it's important to understand that distinction, because once you understand that distinction, you make it easier for people to access it, and you open up your own creative powers even further, because you give yourself permission to create in a way that you wouldn't do if you were constrained to thinking about the actual design for the recipients. And another reason for going right back is that a lot of the systems and processes and frameworks that I've seen, whilst they may bring in aspects of the creative process and the transformation process, they don't, because they're not consciously working with this, they don't bring in all of the aspects, which is why so often we can get totally stuck with a particular, on a particular, you may be involved in a program or a course or something like that, and you just get stuck. And it's often because there is a missing dynamic, a missing energy in the rhythm, and that is what is actually getting you stuck. Or it can also happen that it's coming at the rhythm in an inconsistent way. And it is really important with the elemental energies that we move in a very precise order through the elemental energies, and working with them on the creation process, because it is the order which we move through that opens up and integrates the growth and the possibilities that we are going to experience or we're going to create. So let me talk to you a little bit about how those energetic rhythms work. So we have the 4 elemental energies of earth, air, fire, and water, and we move through them in that order. They're on a circle. We move through them in that order, but starting points can be very different depending on what it is we're doing with them. So they don't all necessarily start with earth. Sometimes they start in water, sometimes they start in fire, etc. They start where they need to start. They start where it's going to connect with people, whether that's you as the creator or your recipients and people who are experiencing what you're creating. They start where they need to start. And once we can access this, which is done intuitively, physically, not mentally, it can't be accessed mentally, then we are ensuring that we are moving into a process where the whole creative process is brought into play consciously rather than unconsciously, which is where, and I certainly used to do this, and always struggled with moving from a big picture to the details, because I was missing out some big aspects of that creative process. By consciously working with each of the elements, then we are making sure that there are no blocks or barriers, that we're not getting stuck, that we are moving through, and most importantly, we're actually opening up the possibility of the next level, the next iteration, the next development, the evolution of what it is that we're creating. We open that door by working with the full energetic rhythm. So at its simplest level, for you, it's a question of saying to yourself, what feels right? Which element does it feel right to start in? Now, if you want to understand how you connect to the elemental energies, you can understand how you physically respond to them, how they present to you. Then I have a free course called Amplify Your Creativity, where there are 4 meditations to go in and connect with each of the elemental energies, which will allow you to explore and understand how you as a unique individual respond to them, because your response is different to mine, is different to the next person's. We all have a unique relationship with them. So that's it. I mean, I teach my clients how to access this, and you can learn. It's very easy to learn. But if you trust your intuition, and trust in your intuition is a massive part of this work. If you trust, then ask. Ask yourself the question: which feels right? Which elemental energy is my starting point for creating this, or for designing that? So that designing the experience that other people will have. Where do they need to start? Because then you can consider how to bring in each of the elements and what they will contribute. Because in each creative process, the elements will bring in a different dynamic. They will have a different feel to them. I'm not going to go into the details too much of this, because I haven't got enough time, and it's quite nuanced. But every elemental energy has multiple sides to it. It has a masculine and it has a feminine. It has a creative and a destructive side to it, and you've got to feel for that. You've got to feel whether or not that's going as an expressive, outwardly expressed, or an inwardly drawing energy. There's lots of different aspects to that. But let me explain to you what generally those energies are bringing in. So Earth is the energy of what is needed. It's very creative, but it's about filling a need, filling a gap, filling a void, filling or just, it is bringing forward what is needed. Air, on the other hand, which comes next in the cycle, is what is possible, because you can give you an example. I mean, a loaf of bread may be what you need. What sort of bread do you need? That's it's taking it the next step up. And then the fire energy is about the driving passion for it. It is about belief in the cause. It is about it's not so much about self-belief, it's about an unrelenting belief that this is the right path. But then water is that inner confidence, that inner trust. It is that energy that says, I believe that this is mine to create. I believe that this is mine to bring forward. So those energies, they allow us to see something from multiple different angles. And if you imagine you have a stone in the center of the circle, and it can be an absolutely uniform stone. It can be perfectly round, no variations in color, but you walk around it, and every step you take, you are having a different perspective and a different view of that stone. And it has 360 degrees of different perspectives. And that is what going through the cycle with the elements actually gives us. It allows us to see and experience multiple different dimensions to the same thing. So you could be creating a course, for the sake of argument, that is how to do one specific thing. It could be a 10-minute course on one specific thing. If you follow the energetic rhythm, it will allow people to connect with all of those points and therefore feel the full impact and transformation of what it is that you are bringing to them. That is missing in most systems and business systems, and that is one of the reasons that I have created this process that I work with, is to allow people to sense and intuitively feel what is needed and then translate that through their intuition into practical action. Now, if you are trying to work with those energies in the wrong order, then what tends to happen is the whole process falls apart, and that's when people get stuck. So if you book onto a course, keep with the theme. You book onto a course and it starts in the wrong place for you, you're going to be stuck before you even get going. Or you might go really well for a bit and then it doesn't follow a consistent pattern and it's not bringing forward the information in the way that it needs to be experienced, and then you're going to hit a hiatus and you're not going to be able to move forward. And so what happens if you access the elemental energies in the wrong place and at the wrong time, then the negative, what we might call negative aspects of those energies come into play, the destructive sides of those energies come into play. So for example, if you access fire at the wrong point, then basically your participants and you are going to wilt in under the heat of that because you're not ready for it. And then you just won't move forward. Or if you access earth in the wrong place, then that's when you're just going to switch off and disengage, because you're trying to work in a specific energy that is not right for where you're at now. And that's just gonna, it's got to be one of the main reasons why, great ideas end up on the shelf, because you can't quite work out how to move it forward and how to work with it. So following that rhythm really unlocks huge amounts for you as a way of accessing a deeper aspect to your business and your own creative powers and what's possible for your business, and also accessing a deeper level of transformation for the people that you're here to support, because that's what you're here to do. You're here to create transformation. You're here to shift people from one point and one sense and one way of feeling into a different way of feeling and a different way of acting. That is transformation, and that's what you're here for. So this allows you to bring in all of those aspects, and it builds in the inevitable and essential periods of stillness that are so alien to us in our lives now, and especially in business, that we go into a state of panic when we hit those spaces. But actually, those periods where there appears to be nothing going on are exactly the points when there is everything going on. It's just below the surface. And that is why it is so important to trust yourself, to trust your inner wisdom, and to trust your intuition, because it has far more wisdom than we give it place for in our businesses. So how can you access this rhythm? Well, you can become a client and I will teach you how to do it, but let me give you some ideas of how you can work with this now. So you can feel the rhythm. First thing is you want to feel the rhythm for you as a creator, and then you want to consciously disconnect from that and feel the rhythm as the person who is going to be experiencing it. And you can then design your creative activities according to your creative needs, and you can design your program to deliver, or your service to deliver, the transformation that it needs according to the rhythm. And these principles can be used throughout your business in all sorts of different ways. So the question you need to ask yourself is, where does it start and what does it feel like? Because what I teach kinetics, and I teach a way of accessing this to my clients, but you can simply ask yourself, what is the dominant energy? Because the dominant energy is going to be the starting point. What feels strongest? Because that's what's calling you. So if it's calling you to start creating in earth, then it's asking you to think about what's needed. Very practical, what is needed. If it's asking you to create in water, then it's asking you to consider what's important, what feels right, what do I feel is mine, what do I feel that I am called to create, that I can't, it won't go away, it keeps coming back to me. So these are things, by feeling into what those energies are and where you want to start, then you can work from there. So if you start in water, then you go water, earth, air, fire. If you start in fire, you go fire, water, earth, air. If you start in earth, air, fire, water, get the gist. It goes earth, air, fire, water in a clockwise direction. It is, when you are creating, it is always going in a clockwise direction. When you are delivering, it is always going in a clockwise direction. It can go in an anti-clockwise direction, but that is when you are drawing into you. And that's when you need to draw energy into you. But when you are creating and outwardly expressing, which is what has happened when you're creating, when you're designing something, then you are going in a clockwise direction. So it's earth, air, fire, water. So wherever you start, you are going around in a clockwise direction. So ask the question and trust the answer that comes back. And if you sit quietly and you close your eyes and you ask yourself that question, you may get very confused because of some of the stereotypes that we have in our society that says Earth's green, for example. I see Earth as red. So I just have to learn to trust that. And I see fire as green. And that there's a very good reason for that, which I won't go into now, but you have to trust that. So I can often see very water colors in air, or very air colors in water. And it's, we can be tricked into thinking that we're in the wrong thing, because of course blue is water. Not necessarily. It's entirely down to what it's showing you, because if it's showing you a color or a symbol and you're thinking, okay, yeah, that definitely feels like water to me, but the symbols or the colors don't seem to be supporting that, what they're giving you is an emphasis, an intonation to that energy. So just let that come to you and just sit with you. So that's that's the simplest way to access this. And then just follow that rhythm through. So you know where you start and you go the full circle. Always goes a full circle. It does not miss anything out. It might be a very simple rhythm. It could be a very complicated rhythm, but it will always go full circle. And you can access this yourself as long as you trust yourself. And if you want to understand how to apply that to creating a bigger picture transformation, not necessarily a service, but this is what I do with my clients, is I help them understand the journey through the business, because there are always multiple aspects to your business. And I mean that from the point of view before you sign somebody as a client to after they've been a client and they're off in the world. There is a whole journey that you can create. And I have a masterclass on how to construct that journey of transformation that includes an activation of the transformation energy of your business. So that will help you to understand how to put this into practice. But I think my most important message for you is to expand your trust in your intuition and deepen your trust in your intuition, because that is where you are able to move from a very mentally, intellectually, logically based approach to business into one that is connected into a deeper level of wisdom, and is moving away from this sort of like relentless and consistent bam, 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 bam energy that we have been asked to come into in order to conform with what's going on out there in the world. And yet that's not how we operate as humans. So if you can access the energetic rhythm, it's going to increase your trust in your intuition and your own inner authority. And obviously, if you would like to talk to me about how to work with this in your business in a more detailed way, then please do message me or book a call. And I will make sure that the links to the Journey of Transformation Masterclass and also Amplify Your Creativity are available underneath the video. And if you have any comments or you have any questions, please let me know, and I will do my very best to answer you. Thank you very much. Bye.